Fusion Systems and Services, a powerhouse in innovation, delivering transformative technology solutions. With our groundbreaking cloud-ready product, ITIS, leading the industry as the ultimate RPA solution, trusted by top global enterprises. From mobile application testing to middleware automation, from big data integration to SAP automation, and even Salesforce automation, Fusion Systems is your strategic partner for success. No challenge is too big. No system is too complex. Empower your business with Fusion Systems. Visit us now at fusionsystemsinc.com and revolutionize your future.
MedStar Laboratory is one of the oldest and largest independent clinical laboratories in the state of Illinois. MedStar Laboratory is a minority-owned corporation that provides state-of-the-art clinical laboratory services since 1974. Currently at MedStar, we service over 800 medical facilities, including hospitals and assisted living facilities.
MedStar Laboratory's Toxicology Division, Soft Landing Labs, is a leader in drug testing and specializes in servicing behavioral health centers. We pride ourselves in diversity, where 33% of the ownership is women and 80% of the workforce is women. MedStar Laboratory prides itself in accuracy, proficiency, and dependable delivery of quality results by quality professionals.
We provide personalized service around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with professionalism at its best. Thanks to you, we are growing and offering a comprehensive range of diagnostic testing. MedStar Laboratory, your partner for progress and longevity. At MedStar, we treat every specimen as if it was our own.
Hello and welcome to Dr. VGP Talk Show.
is proud to endorse Stephanie Kifowit for Illinois Comptroller position.
Hello and welcome to Dr. VGP's podcast that reaches 42 million households, including 2 million in North America. We are here today with a very enlightening person, a person of substance. I would rather correct myself, a woman of integrity, a woman of accountability, a woman of transparency, a proven woman leader in the state of Illinois. She served as an alderman in the city of Aurora for 10 years and then went on to currently serving the state of Illinois for Oswego, Tallgrass and other areas in the neighborhood in the state of Illinois for the last 15 years. Meet the next Illinois State Comptroller, Stephanie Kifowit.
Hello, I am State Representative Stephanie Kifowit, and I am running for Illinois State Comptroller. The Office of the Comptroller is the Chief Fiscal Officer of the state, manages $124 billion of our taxpayer money, 700 different funds. It's a big office that needs somebody with experience and a steady hand. I've been in the government finance world for 20 years. I have my master's degree in public administration from Northern Illinois University. Prior to that, I was in the United States Marine Corps, so I have a steady hand as a veteran who served our country. I'm running for Comptroller because at the end of the day, I served during the 2.5-year budget impasse under Bruce Rauner, and that was the worst time in our state's history. We amassed over $17 billion of unpaid bills due to the fact that Governor Rauner just didn't want to govern, and his hand-picked controller didn't want to pay the bills. So I'm running for Comptroller to make sure that never happens in our history again. So as an Illinois State Comptroller, I'm going to be looking out for you, the taxpayers. We're going to create a nonprofit and community organization division to help our nonprofits and those that do so much in our community work with the Comptroller's office to make sure that payments get received properly and that they know when it's going to be paid. In addition to that, I'm going to work with our labor partners with the labor division to make sure that workers are working under safe conditions. I'm going to continue the modernization program under our current Comptroller, and the fact that I've worked with her now side by side for the past 10 years, I know all the individuals in the office. I can step in on day one and continue the great work our Comptroller is doing. I work side by side on the budget working groups, budget committees, and I know exactly how the Comptroller's office works. So I'm asking for your support as Illinois State Comptroller. My name is Stephanie Kifowit, and you can go to KifowitForController.com.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us on Dr. VGP's podcast. And this is truly yours, Dr. Vijay G. Prabhakar. Stephanie, tell our viewers about your most intriguing story. A daughter of a single parent. I heard you talk recently about your grandma. Please tell our viewers that.
Oh, thank you so much. Everybody has a history, and I think that running for office, it's important for individuals to know what the history is of the person that you're putting your faith and trust into. And my history is similar to a lot of individuals' history. My mother was a teenager when she had me, and actually she contemplating put me up for adoption. However, my grandparents said that they would help take care of me and helped me stay in their home. So for the first couple of years, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. And since I've been blessed with 54 years of age, my grandparents lived through the Depression. And so my grandmother always had deformed feet. And as a child, you asked the grandma, what happened to your feet? And she said that she was blessed to have shoes, even though they didn't fit her. So her shoes were too small during the Depression, but she was happy that she had shoes nonetheless.
Wow. Did you hear that, guys? Her grandmother, Stephanie, is 54 years young today, but born to a single mother when the mother was a teenager, brought up by her grandparents. And her grandmother had been brought up during the Depression of those days where they couldn't afford shoes. So she had a pair of shoes which the grandmother wore, which was too tight. And so her grandmother grew up with deformed feet.
Yes, her feet grew, but the shoes stayed the same. So
See, her feet grew,
Yes.
but the shoes still the same. Now
Yes.
that's the catch line for today. You're going to see how this young lady is going to fill the shoes of the current Illinois State Comptroller, Susan Mendoza, and do much better and much more than what she can do for all of us in the state of Illinois. Now that's an inspiring story. So tell us about your growing up years, your education, and what has prepared you.
Well, growing up, like I said, with my grandparents, my grandfather immigrated here from Poland when he was 17. So he told me just how great it was to be living in the United States of America. And my mother did eventually marry my stepfather, and they were married for many, many years. But
Excuse me.
I was always the half, so I had a half sibling instead of a full sibling. So I didn't really have full siblings growing up. And so that was a different dynamic with regards in the household. But unfortunately, the marriage ended, and it was just pretty me and my mother and some of the half and my half sister, my half brother. And so at 14, I began mowing lawns, breaking leaves, babysitting, doing helping out with an elderly lady across the street named Mrs. Bowles, and just trying to get a couple dollars here and there just to help out and to help with the household economy, the household budget.
You had that independent trait of self-help and going out and eking your own livelihood.
Yes.
Some of us are pampered with our parents taking care of us at that age of 14. And you, that's what I think has evolved you into such a accomplished woman, still raring to serve others. Now tell us, you joined the U.S. Marine Corps
Yes, sir.
at an early age. Tell us about that and what led you to that and how did that shape your career?
Well, what happened was I was just hanging out with friends, actually, in Midlothian, Illinois. And back then we only had the yellow pages.
I still remember that.
And so I just had a thought that I wanted to do something exciting. And so I opened up the yellow pages and looked for the nearest recruiting station because I wanted to see the world and do something exciting. And the nearest recruiting station was in Harvey, Illinois. So I went in and talked to the sergeant.
How old were you then?
I was 17. And I went in and talked to the sergeant, and he signed me up, and I shipped out just after my 18th birthday. Now, here's a fun fact. I had never been on an airplane.
Wow.
So my very first airplane ride of my life was to Parris Island, South Carolina for United States Marine Corps boot camp.
Oof, oof, oof. And there's no looking back after that.
No, it was a wonderful experience.
Tell us in one or two sentences, how wonderful was that experience?
In joining the United States Marine Corps, I was very shy as a child, and the Marine Corps builds leaders. And so I was able to hone in my leadership skills and my strength of character. So much so that that strength of character was on full display when I was the only one to stand up to Mike Madigan and pretty much call him out because he was acting, in my opinion, conduct unbecoming that of a leader of the Illinois House. And lo and behold, he was found guilty and he's now serving prison sentence. But I was the only one to stand up with him. Nobody else would stand with me, but that's okay because I got that from the United States Marine Corps.
Wow, so well said. Guys, you heard how her initial training and being with the U.S. Marine Corps had transformed her whole life, which served as a turning point. We hear of turning point today, an oft-dropped phrase. And in Stephanie's life, the U.S. Marine Corps experience was her turning point. Now, you did multiple jobs, as you earlier told our viewers, to get where you were. Now, in 10 years as an alderman in the city of Aurora, that's, guys, the second largest city in the state of Illinois. Give us one or 2 points, what you accomplished there, and what did you learn from that experience at the civic level?
Well, in serving as an alderman for the city of Aurora, I actually got to put my master's degree in government finance to work. So I was working on the city council and putting in for funding for my ward through the Community Development Block Grant Fund, and several aldermen that had been on for quite a long time asked me, how did I know about that project and how did I get funding for my ward? So it was actually wonderful to put my degree to work. The city of Aurora has a $500 million budget, and working through the recession in 2008 was very challenging. But I was able to use that experience to help Aurora get out from under the recession and get on firm footing, similar to during the Rauner years.
Wow. That's incredible what you just told us. And how did you make that shift from the city of Aurora, which had a $500 million budget, to the state of Illinois, where you served since 2013 as the 84th district rep, which has a budget, the state of Illinois, of $124 billion, you told us earlier this evening.
Yes, sir.
And that must have been, what do you think is your proudest legislative achievement up to date today?
Oh, goodness gracious. So I've been in the Illinois House for, like you said, 13 years, since 2013. And it is an adjustment. Even though I was in Aurora and I have my degree, the state is nothing like the local level. There is a lot of departments, a lot of individuals, and just as you said, it's a $124 billion budget today. So when I look back, some of my proudest accomplishments came from working with people in the community. And one of them was working with a parent whose child had autism. And we created the Autism Awareness Card, because high-functioning individuals with autism, if they come across a high-stress situation, it could potentially end up badly. And this was an Autism Awareness Card that, pretty much talked about what autism is and how an individual in a high-stress situation could behave contrary to what they would like. And it's free at the Secretary of State's office, and it's works with individuals with epilepsy, and there's an emergency number on the back. And working with the autism community is really rewarding. In addition to that, working with the veteran community. We've done a lot of veteran legislation to help out our veterans as well.
You are an action-oriented, from what I hear you saying, and a people person. You want to deliver to the people, and you've delivered results. Now, you came out on 2013 aboard to the state of Illinois legislature, a very interesting period. There was a transition of governor between Governor Rauner and Governor Pritzker.
Yes.
And tell us, how did you pitch in at that time? I mean, there must be several stories, but give us one or two incidents where you made a difference.
Well, I came in under Governor Quinn.
Okay.
And then Governor Rauner engaged in the 2.5 budget impasse. And I was a ranking member on the House Working Group. And what we did is we met, and sometimes we met in secret with Republicans to try and break the impasse, to try to override the governor's veto that has kept us spiraling out of control.
For 2.5 years impasse.
Yes. And
is what the longest impasse in the Illinois state legislature?
It is the longest impasse, I think, in the nation, to be quite honest, because we just weren't paying our bills. We just, Governor Bruce Rauner vetoed everything, didn't pay the bills. Some providers, some doctors were going almost 2 years without a payment from the state. Wow. And so we had to work with moderate Republicans, and we had about 8 moderate Republicans that joined Democrats to vote against the governor and break the budget impasse and override his veto. And then Susana Mendoza was elected controller, and the budget working group, along with my budget committee, worked hand in hand with the current controller to drag us out of that $17 billion backlog of bills.
Wow.
And we worked very hard with legislative initiatives and some borrowing and some federal matching grants, and we were able to now get us where we are today, 10 credit upgrades. Our bill backlog's been paid within a week, and I've just been proud to be working side by side with the current controller and knowing all her staff and knowing how much of a tough fiscal watchdog she is. I'm going to continue that and be a tough fiscal watchdog into the future.
I can see that right there. I know you're raring to go. I can see fire in your belly. Stephanie, Tell our viewers about the job you're going to be elected to soon. The Illinois State Comptroller. What does it control? What does it do? Give our viewers a little insight into that.
Well, thank you for that question. A lot of people don't understand what the controller does, but the controller is the chief fiscal officer of the state. And as I mentioned before, the state has an all-funds budget of $124 billion. But it's a government entity, so that means that it manages over 700 different funds and into 8 different fund categories. Now, the General Revenue Fund is just one category, and that's $55 billion. The Comptroller's Office manages 16 million transactions a year.
16 million transactions a year.
Yes, sir.
And you control the state budget of 124 billion. Do you know by any chance you have a number of checks your signature as controller would go on?
Well, 16 million transactions is
means
checks
16 million
and
check
direct deposits.
services.
So it's a lot going out.
In 1 year.
Yes, sir. Yes, and we're modernizing the Comptroller's Office right now. The current Comptroller's on phase 2, so we're going to get off checks and onto more direct deposits and digital payments, just for safety purposes.
Great. I mean, that's something incredible what you just said. Now, you are going to take over from Susan Mendoza as the Illinois State Comptroller by a recent poll. Could you share the recent poll which says where you are standing compared to the other 4 candidates?
Well, right now our internal polling shows that we are on top.
Great.
However, it is a very, very tight race. So we're all pretty much close to one another with a large amount of individuals undecided in our poll. So we want to reach people who are undecided and to share our story and to encourage them to vote for me, because I think experience matters. Military experience, my financial experience, and the experience I've had working with the current controller really is needed with the unpredictable times we are of the Trump administration. So I stood up to Bruce Rauner, and I stood up to Mike Madigan, and I'll stand up to Donald Trump and make sure that Illinoisans are taken care of.
You just led me straight into my next question. We're all hearing about the President Trump's administration cuts in Medicaid and food stamps. And I do understand, which you'll have a better understanding, the federal government sends the funds to the state and then the state distributes it out. Right. Now, when such facts, I know the budget has been passed in partial, sometimes in full, and still negotiations are going for the full budget. But how will that affect the state budget, and what you as a comptroller at that time, how will you make adjustments to fulfill the obligations to the people of state of Illinois despite federal cuts?
Well, I think that first and foremost, we need to be at the ready. So when you talk about the SNAP benefits, we sued and the restriction on the SNAP benefits was lifted. However, only 6 states got 100% funding for their residents, and Illinois was not one of them. So as controller, I'm going to create a rapid response team to be at the ready so that as soon as federal funds are released, we are there to grab it. And that's not happening today.
Why is it not happening, Stephanie?
Well, because I'm not controller.
That's very good. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So we need to be at the ready, because right now we are
at the ready.
Yes. Right at the ready, because right now we are fighting in the courts to get the money that's owed. And as soon as the courts rule in our favor, we need to grab those funds for our residents. The second thing goes back to the Bruce Rauner years, where we were able to prioritize the nonprofits and the organizations that do so much for our communities to be first in line for payment. And we had nonprofits that were 2 or 3 payments away from closing their doors during the Rauner years. So we can do that as well on the state level. Look at prioritizing and making sure that we're there for the nonprofits and the community organizations that take care of the most vulnerable. And I can do that as controller.
Fantastic. Stephanie, you got my vote already, because I think out of all the 5 candidates, 4, you're the most thorough. You understand the system, you worked with the system, you are prepared for it, and you know what it takes to take Illinois State's financial system as the chief fiscal officer to the next level, especially with AI and digital age. And you rightly said 16 million transactions, but are they going to get digitalized?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to look at direct deposits and ACH.
Okay.
To make sure that it goes directly into the bank account. So it'll go from the controller's office to the bank account. So we don't have checks in the mail or checks that get lost in the mail, and it's very secure. Now, when we talk about AI, I think that we need to make sure that we don't lose any jobs to AI, which I think that in the controller's office, we just need every single employee we have. However, we can use technology to find errors, to make sure that we are as transparent, accountable, and we find out every waste, fraud, and abuse we can. And the new technology can do that for us and help us out. Secondly, as the controller sits on the State Board of Investments, and I was a registered financial advisor.
Tell us more about that. It's very interesting.
Yes.
I did not know that. Go ahead.
Well, back after college, I was a registered financial advisor with Morgan Stanley Dean Witter.
Good.
And I enjoyed helping families plan for their retirement or plan for their children's education or just put away some savings for a house. However, I had my son, so I had 2 children at the time. And after I had my son, I couldn't afford childcare anymore. So then I wound up staying at home with my children for a while. And then I became the alderman for the city of Aurora. So I'm the only one in this race that was a registered financial advisor. And sitting on the State Board of Investments, you know, I believe wholeheartedly that we need to have good, solid investing principles and not invest in any cryptocurrency or AI startup speculative tech.
So the state investment boards invest their funds
For the state pensions.
for the state pension.
State employee pensions.
And
yes.
how much is that state pension fund now?
Oh, a couple $100 billion. It's very
100
large.
billion or million?
Oh no, it's in the billions.
It's in the
state
billions.
pension funds are in the billions.
Wow.
Yes.
And so the state investment board invests that.
Yes.
Okay.
And the controller has a seat on that board.
Oh, great, great. So you're all set.
Yes.
Now, I think there couldn't be a better candidate than you for the state controller. Now, our viewers would like to know a little more about your insight and your philosophy in life. How many children do you have today?
So I have 2 children. My daughter is 28, and she's actually going back to school for accounting.
Great.
At Northern
Like mother,
Illinois.
like daughter.
Yes, yes, she's very excited about that, and she's due to graduate this spring.
Great.
So we're very excited. She got married last year, and her husband is a firefighter and
Great.
also serves our country in the Illinois National Guard.
Fantastic, fantastic.
And then my son, he graduated high school in 2020, so he's a class of 2020.
Okay.
Goodness gracious, that was an interesting time in our history.
With COVID pandemic and
Yes. And right after high school, my son joined the United States Navy.
Great.
So he has been serving overseas now for 3 years in right outside of Tokyo in Yokosuka, Japan. And I just got word that he is going to have orders to come back home this summer.
oh, that must be really nice.
Yes.
It'll be a celebration time.
It
You'll be
will
winning
be.
the primary and you'll be winning there.
Yes, yes.
Now, Stephanie, if you're given an opportunity to take 3 people out for dinner from the past to the present, there could be a mentors, could be a heroes, could be a lover, could be enemy. Who would those 3 people be?
Amelia Earhart,
Okay.
Eleanor Roosevelt,
Okay.
and I think my last one would be Abraham Lincoln.
Fantastic. You just heard Stephanie, the next Illinois Comptroller, say the 3 people she would like to take is Amelia Ha
Yes.
and Eleanor Roosevelt and Abraham Lincoln. We're in the land of Lincoln after all, and
Yes.
he's a Robert Farragut. That gives a great insight. Now, if you asked to describe yourself in 3 words or 3 adjectives, how would you describe yourself? I can think of 12 different adjectives to describe your very firebrand personality, but what would be those 3 adjectives to describe Stephanie Kifowit, the next Illinois State Comptroller?
Well, the first word, of course, would be veteran,
Great.
because I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran.
Very good.
And the second one, I would have to say finances, because I have been doing finances for well over 20 years. But the third one, I have to say, is space, because I give space to everyone in my life. I give space to veterans who call me in despair at midnight or 2 in the morning. I give my cell phone number out on the radio show. I give space because sometimes the world is a little tough and everybody needs a little bit of space and a space where they belong.
You just heard Stephanie Kifowit talking about 3 adjectives to describe herself. She did say she's a veteran first. She would like to be known as a proud veteran. She's a financial pundit, may I say. Mm-hmm. And third, she's an inclusive leader. She gives space for everybody.
Yes.
And she's accessible. And scrolling down our screen here, you'll see her website number. And would you like to share your phone number too, or your campaign phone number for people who'd like to call on you and see how they can support you? So we'll have a campaign number and her website running on, as you can see down on the screen today. And please feel free to call. You will not get another person who's opening up and being accessible and saying, come on, get me, I want to help you.
Yes.
That's the feeling I get from talking to Stephanie. And I met her a couple of times, and she's very infectious. She's very serious. She wants to get the job done. And she is a proven leader who can deliver and get results.
Yeah, so people can email me directly in the campaign at stephanie@kifowitforcontroller.com, or they can send a text or call at 630-791-0484.
Great. Now, this has been such an enlightening conversation. To know about you and let our viewers know about you. And you're going to learn more about her in the coming days. And Stephanie, we'd like you to give your parting advice message to our 42 million viewers. It's all yours now. Take it and run.
Well, here's to 2026. I know it's a little bit hard. I know it's very scary. And as a veteran, I'm very concerned. But together, we can make great change, and together we need to be there for each other. So I'm wanting for Controller to do my part in making this world a little better for those who might be struggling today. So with that, I want to be there for you, and I want you to know that there are people for you if you need them.
Very well said. You just heard Stephanie Kifowit, the next Illinois State Comptroller, giving such fond message of hope, message of prosperity, and message of good feeling. As she said, she's an inclusive leader. She's a veteran, and she's a financial pundit. Wishing you every success as not only you conquer the Illinois State Comptroller, but giving you more power to the people, because Illinois, nay, America, needs more leaders like you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on Dr. VGP's Talk Show. Thank you.
Dear viewers, elevate your business to new heights and reach 35 million potential customers with Global Eye Digital. Contact us today at globaleyedigital@gmail.com or info@globaleyedigital.com. Let's take your business global.